Minari is a quintessentially American film. Written and directed by Chung, the film follows the story of a Korean-American immigrant family in the 1980s, trying to achieve the American dream in the rural heartlands of America. Chung's deeply personal, semi-autobiographical tale is powerful, not only in its authenticity and deep humanity, but in the way it uses symbols, visual motifs, and biblical allusions to comment on immigration and the American dream. The film, which is titled after the Korean plant Minari, uses the plant as a symbol for the immigrant experience. We first encounter the plant as a seed. Brought over from Korea by Grandma Sunja, the uprooting and transplanting of the Korean plant to American soil acts as a visual metaphor for the immigrant experience. Its assimilation into foreign land parallels the Yi family's assimilation into America. As the film goes on, the Minari becomes more and more central to the story. When the water dries out, the plant cleanses the creek water and transforms it into drinking water. At the end of the film, when Jacob's crops get burned in the shed, the Minari is what saves their family from financial ruin. This seemingly inconsequential plant becomes crucial to the Yi family's survival. Its ability to withstand harsh environments speaks to the resilience of immigrants. Perhaps the most poetic interpretation of the plant is the idea of death and rebirth seen in the plant's life cycle. In an interview, Chung explains that it is the second batch of Minari, not the first batch, that yields the crop. Like first-generation immigrants, the batch of Minari is the sacrifice. It is the second batch of Minari, or the second generation of immigrants, that get to experience the fruit of their parents' labor.
10년을 일했어! 10년! 매일마다 병아리 똥구멍만 쳐다보면서 뼈 빠지게 일했어!
This theme of immigration and assimilation is also represented in the film's use of color and costume. Each of the four central protagonists is dressed in the American colors of red, blue, and white. Jacob's signature red hat, blue pants, and white shirt matches Monica's red and blue attire. Their daughter Anne is dressed in similar colors, and David, played by the beloved Alan Kim, is also dressed in his iconic blue shorts and red and white striped shirt. Their adorning of American colors speaks to their desire to blend in and acts as a visual symbol of their assimilation. This struggle to assimilate and to achieve the American dream is further illustrated in the film's biblical allusions. In the beginning of the film, Jacob refers to his farmland as a Garden of Eden, the acres of greenery which holds in it all the promise and possibility of new life makes the land a sort of paradise. It is here that Jacob and his family can start anew and pursue the American dream. This dream or promised land gets threatened when we see a snake in the garden and when the Yi family experiences two kinds of biblical deaths, first by flood, then by fire. Their subsequent struggle to find water and the many allusions to fire all symbolize their struggle for new life. The film's inclusion of a water diviner, a man carrying a cross, and other symbols of faith all illustrate their search for salvation. In the end, it was not scripture, the garden, or American ideology that saved them, however. The promise of the American dream, which claims that if you work hard you can achieve anything, gets destroyed at the end of the film when all of Jacob's hard work gets burned in the fire. It was the Minari that the grandmother planted, the symbol of immigrant resilience and love, that saved them in the end. Through the use of symbols, motifs, and biblical allusions, Chung allows us to think about the immigrant experience and the American dream in a new and profound way. Minari becomes an extremely poetic and symbolic plant that contains within itself the entire film's narrative and theme. It shows us what it means to be an immigrant on a deeper level, to be transplanted and forced to grow, sacrifice, and love in a foreign land.